Hare Krishna. We'll start with very important question. like in the battle of Kurukshetra, if we see that Duryodhana and Arjuna, Bhima, they all were fighting. And now Krishna had a purpose. So Krishna wanted to kill all these people who are burdened to this world. Now Duryodhana may say that, okay, like does anyone has the freedom of choice at all? Could Ashwathama, because he is considered a partial incarnation of Rudra, Yama, Kamadev, he would have acted in it differently? It is unlikely. Could Duryodhana, Karna, Shalya acted differently? It is unlikely. And what about Arjuna and Bhima? They are also acting according to their own conditioning, right? And all of them are driven by their own nature. They could not have acted differently. Each of them played an important role in the inconceivable plan of Krishna, who is the great director of universal drama. Now, Krishna wanted all the warriors to gather at Kurukshetra and to be killed. And Ashwatthama brilliantly helped to fulfill the plan of Krishna. The last day he came, whatever was remaining, he killed in the night only when everybody was sleeping. So now, why do we blame him? Why does Krishna actually curses Ashwatthama and condemns him that to suffer rather than thanking him for a well performed service? Because Krishna wanted it, right? Now, why do we condemn Duryodhana and Ashwatthama and glorify Arjuna and Bhima? Everybody is doing the same job of killing, and Krishna wanted to be done. Both sides acted in accordance with their nature and accomplished God's plan, right? So, why does Krishna condemn somebody and celebrate victory with others? Very important point to understand here. This is like even Duryodhana in one of the shlokas in Mahabharata, he says that he was talking to sage Kanva, who is trying to help Duryodhana understand, "Arey, don't do this, don't do this." And Duryodhana, he speaks and he says in a sarcastic way, says, "Eteveshvara srishtosmi yadbhava yacha me gati tata marshe vartami kim pralapa karishyasi." He says that, "Oh great sage, don't you know that I am the way the Creator created me? He had predetermined my destiny, and I am to do only what I mean to do. So, what's the point in of endlessly talking about it? I am just the way I am created. So, why you are saying like this?" And but Krishna says that there are that we have so no freedom of choice also in one shloka like sadrisham cheshtite saswat prakritim jnanavan api prakritim yanti bhutani nigraham kim karishyasi. Don't try to control, just act according to nature. Each person has the knowledge of scriptures and is compelled to act in accordance with his conditioned nature. So from a result of deeds, whatever he has performed in the past, he has acquired certain nature. So everyone acts according to the vasanas imprint in his mind and the what he can achieve by trying to suppress his nature. That's what Krishna is also telling, right? Now, besides it, how can we not become fatalist? Fatalist means whatever, it's my fate, I'm just acting according to my fate. And many people say, no, you ask them, come to temple. Whenever Krishna calls, we'll come, not in our hand. So they say, it's my fate is like that. What can I do? So some people are fatalist. Yet, yes, we have, but still we have choice. Otherwise, Krishna would be unfair to condemn Ashwatthama, right? And all the sorry, scriptural rules and regulations would be pointless. That is why human beings they have endowed with higher intelligence, and why scriptures exist to enable us to recognize the base desires in our heart and impose which are imposed by our conditioned nature and which act contrary to them. Like that's why the scripture says Krishna makes this. He says also Indriyan Indriyarteshte Raga Dvesha Vyavastito Tayor Nahi Vashamagachet Tvahi Asya Paripantino. Right? He says there are principles to regulate attachment and aversions and which are connected to their senses. So one should not come under such control of such attachment and aversions because they are the stumbling block on the path of self-realization. Now, this is important to understand. And the battle, so we have discussed this two. One, what Krishna is telling that Nigram Kim Karishasi and Duryodhana Shloka in Mahabharata. So this is how I am created, my Swabhava, my nature. But Krishna is also telling in Bhagavad Gita, no, 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 don't go with this Raga Desha Vyavastito. There is, one should not come under the control of such attachments and aversions because they are stumbling block on the path of self-realization. That's why what he's telling, Indriyas Indriyarte. He says there are principles to regulate attachment and aversions. So what scriptures are telling, they are giving us a opportunity to regulate ourselves and free from these conditionings. Now the battle that is happening is actually happening in our heart. We can defeat the Duryodhana's forces if we get help from Krishna and his devotees. And by their association, will always remember that we are servants and not masters. And then we can overcome our vicious tendencies, no matter how strong they may be. The victory is certain. We are reassured of it. Krishna is telling, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Pada Dhanadhara. So wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and where there is a supreme archer, there will always certainly victory, opulence, morality, extraordinary power, and everything. Now, this is the difference. This one point we understand between Duryodhana and Bhima, Ashwatthama and Arjuna, Dhritarashtra and Bhishma. Some consider themselves to be Krishna's servants and worship and remember uh, his worship his devotees in all circumstances. Even when they fight against him, like Bhishma is fighting against, but they remember that they are serving Krishna only and they wish victory for him and his devotees. Others believe that they are independent of Krishna and could do without him. Even some who were fighting on the side of Pandavas also, they are not connected to Krishna. Like Gatotkacha, they felt nothing to do with Krishna. Arjuna, Draupadi, and Bhishma, they humbly accepted all that fate it is sent to him. Always they were conscious that Krishna was behind all it. Like Kunti Maharani, she prays for Krishna to help them accept all adversities and trials and give them strength to overcome. For them, grief and indignation did not actually prevent them from gratefully remembering Krishna. But whereas Duryodhana and Ashwatthama, they are blinded by pride, hoped to defeat Krishna and his devotees, and they cursed the fate for their defeats. It was not Krishna they remembered in grief, and it is nor was it Krishna they thanked in joy. So that's why in both situations they are thinking they are the doers. When they are successful, when they get defeated, they curse the fate. But when devotees it comes, they anytime in the grief also they accept it Krishna's mercy, in victory also they accept Krishna's mercy. That's why Krishna celebrates victory with someone and condemns the rest. Now each of us we need to make some choices between humility and pride, gratitude and anger, determination and stubbornness, love and envy. And it is not just once, but every single moment we have to do it. Now, what Krishna is telling is that we have to regulate our way of doing things. Even though we have Swabhava, Krishna is giving us a means to come out of it and act properly in the help of scriptures. That is the point. Like I can say, then there, what is the point of scriptures if they're not helping us to get regulated and come out of this conditioning? They are meant to help out of conditionings. Now, did Arjuna come out of conditionings? Did Bhima come out of conditionings? They are also acting according to conditionings. No, they are not acting according to condition. They have their conditioning, but they are properly accepting the will of Krishna and acting. That's why they are free. Whereas Duryodhana and Ashwatthama, they are not doing like that. They are conditioned, but their conditioning, they are not trying to overcome the conditioning. They're just acting and they're not regulating. Whereas Bhima wanted to kill Ashwatthama, but Krishna said, no, 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 you should not kill. Yudhishthira, everybody said no. Bhima accepted. Even though he has conditioning that he told that this fellow is going to again create trouble, and Ashwatthama creates trouble also. And Bhima, when Draupadi was insulted, Bhima just followed Yudhishthir. He was so angry, but he did not go against it. That is the difference. He was affected by anger because his conditioning is there. He could not resist. But he just followed his elder brother. He just stayed in the forest for 13 years. He did not just go and fight. He said, I cannot just stay like this. That means what? They are accepting their situation in all adversities, trials. They are accepting that it is actually Krishna behind all it. And they pray to Krishna for strength to overcome them. This is the difference in all situations. So we all need to make this choice. So this is the difference between demonic mentality, which is Krishna is explained in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, divine and demonic qualities. So people cannot say that I am made like this, the Lord made like this. What can I do? And no, it's not. Still, He's giving us choice between humility and pride, gratitude and anger, determination and stubbornness, and envy and love. So there is difference. The choice He's giving for us. That's why we cannot. That even Duryodhana, he was saying, "My fate like this." No, it is not. And then we have some other one more just point I wanted to share. Like now, Krishna, he comes to rescue. Now, devotees are careful not to bother the Lord with needless requests and try to defend themselves. Now, they are confident of Krishna's protection. Krishna personally protects sometimes devotees. Now, there is one story. This is important point I want to say is like once Krishna tells this story to Yudhishthir in Mahabharata. He says that mm, one time before the Kurukshetra battle, while Pandavas were in the forest, Ashwatthama he went to Dwarka for some time. The inhabitants of Dwarka they received him with great honor and respect because the only son of the great famous Dronacharya. They provided him luxurious apartments and taking care of all his needs. Now everyone knew that there will be war between Pandavas and Kauravas. And Ashwatthama also understood that this is going to happen. So he had some uh, ingenious plan. Now he went when Krishna was alone at the ocean sitting. Ashwatthama goes there, and Ashwatthama, with this, he asks Krishna, "My father gave me this Brahmastra, and this is a weapon of Brahma, which is worshipped by all the demigods and all." Now he says, "Can we exchange this Brahmastra with this Sudarshan? I will give you Brahmastra, Krishna, you give me Sudarshan." Now here, this is a very important point. Krishna, he answers. He says that, why you only want my disc? I also have this Saranga bow. The arrows of Sharanga strikes the target without missing. And I have this Kaumadiki mace also. And this is very important. He says, I am ready to give you whatever you want, provided it will benefit you. I don't need anything in return. This is very important statement. What Krishna is telling, Krishna is ready to give us anything provided it will help us. Why is not giving? If he gives me say 100 crore rupees, I'm 100% sure I'll not practice. I'll not be able to practice bhakti because it is so much distracting to me. I'll just think, what should I do with this money? Where should I invest? How to make it more? So the attachment, that is actually a great distraction. And Krishna needs nothing from us except love. He's ready to give anything. He needs only love. He's willing to give us anything, but he knows that not everything will benefit us. That's why he's not giving. So then Ashwatthama was overjoyed. He said yes, yes, and he Krishna he he said take it, and Ashwatthama jumped for the disc, and he started holding it. And no matter how hard he tried, he could not even move. Only he tried with his left hand, right hand, both hands. He could not move the Sudarshan Chakra only. And Krishna very sympathetically asked Ashwatthama, who was straining very hard, and he felt ashamed that he could not move. Krishna smiled and asked, okay, may I ask you a question? Actually, Arjuna, who defeated Lord Shiva in single combat, is very beloved friend of mine. I am willing to give everything, including my wife, children, everything I can give for Arjuna, but he never asked me this Sudarshan Chakra. Neither my beloved son Pradyumna ever asked. Neither my elder brother Balram, he never asked for it. And no Vrishnis, no Andhakas, nobody asks for this. But why are you asking this? Ashwatthama says, oh Krishna, I know that there is no other weapon compared to your Sudarshan disc. It strikes the terror in the entire world, and because of it, everybody is in awe of you. And by pleasing you, I wanted to possess this, and I want to use it to kill you and please my friend Duryodhana. But it seems that only you can make use of it. So I don't have any business in Dwarka. I am leaving. Oh, Govinda, he says and leaves. Now, the point is what? That Krishna is willing to help us, but we are not willing to take help from Krishna the way he is giving. We want our ways. And so this is the mentality of a demonic person. So we have discussed here that the sages of Namshar, they asked what happened, the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. So from here it starts. Saint Maitreya was great and pure devotee of Lord, and therefore his questions to His Grace Rishi Maitreya has to be very purposeful on the highest level and approved by learned circles. So we have just read this. It says Sudha Goswami said the great says Sukadeva Goswami was highly experienced and was pleased with the king. Thus being questioned by the king, he said to him, please hear the topics attended. Any questions, comments with the two points we discussed? Okay. This is Sisuta Vacha Yada tu Raja Sasuthan Sada Duna Sada Duna Pushnana Dharmena Vinashta Drishti Bhratur Sutan Vibhantu Pravesha Laksha Bhavane Dadaha. It says that Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, King Dhritarashtra, being blind under the influence of impious desires to nourish his dishonest sons, and thus he set fire to the love house to burn his fatherless nephews, the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth, but his blindness is committing impious acts to support his dishonest son was a greater blindness than his physical lack of sight. The physical lack of sight does not bar one from spiritual progress, but when one is blind spiritually, even though physically fit, that blindness is dangerously detrimental to the progress path of human life. Because anything that we do wrong, we have to pay for it in the next life. That is the point. It is nothing goes free. We have to pay. If somebody is blind, He's actually paying for it. It is looks very harsh to speak. Why are you? They are already suffering, and you are trying to say that they did something sinful in previous life. It is not by chance. See, we sympathize, but we should be rational also. We should know the truth. We cannot just say, "Oh, Lord is very harsh." Lord is not harsh. That is his person's activity, which ended up him in that situation. Now, if he acts nicely, that it's good for him. Because in this situation, why a person is kept in a blind situation, lame, dumb, deaf, and all? Because he's just in that situation, it will make him humble. And if he accepts reality, then what happens? He will not be, and he will not be able to commit more sinful activity. That's why this situation is kept. Like sometimes children, they are kept in a room and locked by mother. They are doing so much mischief, or they sometimes bind them, or some bind to a chair, or they'll put in a room and lock and say, do whatever you want in the room. Now, why they are doing? They are restricting their freedom. Similarly, when any of our senses, they are not properly functioning, it's a restriction of our freedom. So uh, that will help us to not commit more sin. Because if I have everything nicely, I'm just misusing. So what is the point? Krishna says, okay, remove something so that he will not misuse. At least he will that part will not make him means at least he will become sober, understand that why I am removed this, why my hand is not there, leg is not there, because I misused. So better I use it properly. Like that. The king did not forbid his son Dusyasana's abominable action of grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Yudhishthir, even though her tears washed the red dust of her breast. So now another thing, if women, old people, children, brahmanas, cows, tears from their eyes is very dangerous for the whole country. If the children are not properly taken care, children crying when they are with the mother and all, that is different. But when they are crying, when they are exploited and in a helpless situation, they are crying and nobody is there to take care of them, and woman is exploited and they are crying in the house, that is different. But whole society, like if the woman, the some wrong thing is done to a woman, that is very very dangerous for the whole country, not just the person who did, it's for whole country it is. And cows, tears of cows and all, brahmanas and old people, old people, any of them in a helpless state they are, that is dangerous. दौते त्वधर्मेण जितस्य साधवो सत्यावलम्बस्य वनं गतस्य न याचतो धात समन्य समेन धायम् तमोजुषान्यद् अजातशत्रु. So Yudhishthir, whose enemy was never born, his Ajatashatru, was unfairly defeated in gambling. And because he has taken the vow of truthfulness, he went off to the forest. When he came back in due course and begged the return of his rightful share of the kingdom, he was refused by Dhritarashtra. He was overwhelmed by illusion. Maharashtra was the rightful heir of his father's kingdom, but just to favor his own sons headed by Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra Maharaj, Yudhishthir's uncle, adopted various unfair means to cheat his nephews of their rightful share of kingdom. At last, the Pandavas demanded only 5 villages, one for each of 5 brothers, but that was also refused by the usurpers. This incident led to the war of Kurukshetra. The battle of Kurukshetra, therefore, was induced by Kurus and not the Pandavas. Because the Pandavas were Kshatriyas, their only proper livelihood was to rule and not to accept any other occupation. A Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya will not accept employment for his livelihood under any circumstances. यदा च पार्था प्रहितत्सभाया जगद्गुरुर्यानि जगाद कृष्ण न तानि पुंसाममृतायनानि राज्योर्मेने क्षतपुण्यलेशा. Lord Krishna was sent by Arjuna into the assembly as a spiritual master of the whole world, and although his words were heard by some, like Bhishma, a pure nectar, it is not so for the others, who are completely bereft of the last fathering of past pious works. The king, Dhritarashtra Duryodhana, did not take the words of Lord Krishna very seriously. Prabhupada writes, Lord Krishna was the spiritual master of entire universe, accepted the duty of a messenger, and deputed by Arjuna, went to the assembly of King Dhritarashtra on a peace mission. Krishna in everyone's Lord, and because he was transcendental friend of Arjuna, he gladly accepted the role of messenger, exactly like an ordinary friend. That is the beauty of Lord's behavior with his pure devotees. He reached the assembly and spoke about peace, and the message was relished by Bhishma and other great leaders. But it was spoken by the Lord Himself, because it was spoken by the Lord Himself. But neither Duryodhana nor his father Dhritarashtra took the message very seriously due to the exhaustion of pious results of their past deeds. That is the way of a person who have no credits of pious deeds. By past pious deeds, one may become the king of a country. But because the results of pious acts of Duryodhana and company were dwindling, it became evident that their actions that they were sure to lose the kingdom to the Pandavas. The message of Godhead is always like nectar to the devotees, but it's just the opposite to the non-devotees. Sugar candy is always sweet to a healthy person, but it tastes very bitter for persons suffering from jaundice. So this is the point we're discussing. So Krishna instructs everyone, but some accept, some they don't accept. Who accepts, Krishna rejoices with them. Some they don't, Krishna curses. Both in both case, Krishna is compassionate because all are Krishna's children only. And it looks like Krishna is partial. He's not partial. Why is cursing? To help that living entity to come to his senses, to grow, to make him benefit. To benefit the living entity, only Krishna curses. Krishna never wishes any ill for anybody. Curse means what? Basically is restricting his freedom. When Nalkora Manigiri were cursed by Narad Muni to become trees, what happened to them? Their freedom, their senses and all, they are restricted. They cannot perform more. If they are given more freedom, they will do only mischief. It will trouble them and others. But if they are restricted, then they say, okay, now we cannot do much. So what to do? Be humble, like that. But this is the point, like how that is acting. यदोपहूतो भवनं प्रविष्टो मन्त्राय पृष्टः किल पूर्वजेन हताहतन्मन्त्रदृशां वरीयान् यन्मर्तिनो वैदुरिकं वदन्ति. He says that when Vidura was invited by his elder brother Dhritarashtra for consultation, he entered the house and gave instructions which were exactly to the point. His advice is well known, and instructions by Vidura was approved by expert ministers of state. Purport. Political suggestions by Vidura are known as expert, just as in modern times Pandit Chanakya is considered the authority in good counsel in both politics and moral instructions. So Chanakya Pandit gets so much Sukruti because Prabhupada is appreciating. This is fortune. अजातशत्रोपतियच्छधीयं तितिक्षतो दुर्विषं तवाग सहानुजो यत्र विकोधराः स्वशन् tan alam bhishi. He says that Vidura said, "You must now return the legitimate share to Yudhishthir, who has no enemies and who has been forbearing through untold suffering due to his your offences. He is waiting with his younger brothers, amongst whom is the revengeful Bhima, breathing heavily like a snake. Surely you are afraid of him." So Vidura is giving warning to Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra that there you have to give it, otherwise it's not good. Bhima is going to kill, and Bhima did also. Bhima killed all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. And so first he is giving the name of Bhima. He said, "Arey, Bhima is there. You cannot do anything with him." And then he tells not only Bhima, Arjuna is also there. He says, "Pratamstu devo Bhagavan Mukundo गृहीतवान् शक्ति क्षितिदेव देव आस्ते स्वपूर्यां यदुदेव देवो विनिर्जिताशेष नृदेव देव." He says that Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, accepted the sons of Pandu, Partha, Pritha as his kingsmen. All the kings in the world are with Sri Krishna. He is present in his home and his family members. The kings and those were conquered, who has conquered unlimited numbers of rulers, and he is their lordship. So he's telling, Bhima is there and Krishna is there with them. And this is very important. He says, Vidura gave Dhritarashtra very good counsel regarding political alignment with the sons of the Pandavas. He says that the first thing he said was that Lord Krishna was intimately related with them as their cousins. Because Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, he is worshipable all Brahmanas and demigods for the controller of the universal affairs. Besides that, Lord Krishna and his family members, the royal order of the Yadu dynasty, were the conquerors of all the kings of the world. And Kshatriyas used to fight the kings of various uh, dominance and kidnap their beautiful princess daughters after conquering their relatives. This system was laudable because the Kshatriyas and princes would be married only on the basis of chivalry of the conquering Kshatriya. All the young princes of Yadu dynasty married the daughters of other kings in this way by chivalrous force, and thus there were conquerors of all the kings of the world. So Vidura wanted to impress upon his elder brother that fighting with Pandavas was fighting with many dangers because they were supported by Lord Krishna, who had conquered even in his childhood demons like Kamsa and Jarasandha and demigods like Brahma and Indra. Therefore, all universal powers are behind Pandavas. So that's how he gives the warning. Okay, we'll end here. We'll continue tomorrow on this discussion. Thank you all very